Hello, my friends. Coach Paris here with Always on Your Side Coaching. I am coming at you today with a little bit of an introduction, a little deeper dive into the power of 13. And today we're just going to discuss what the 13 are. So, as most of you know, I wrote a book called The Power of 13, The Common Sense Guide to Health and Wellness. And one of the things I constantly tell people is it's not rocket science, right? Nothing in my book you're not going to be shocked by anything that I write in my book. You're just not. So there are I apologize. There are six common sense principles based in food. There are 3 common sense principles based in movement, and there are 4 common sense principles that are based in mindset. So I want to first explain where the power of 13 came from. When I left my job years ago, in 2020 with Weight Watchers, I knew I was going to be starting my own business. I wanted to start my own virtual coaching business. And I knew that in my 20 years of experience that I had a huge allotment of information. The one thing, and I'll preach this all day long to you, is that I don't believe that there's one right way. And for the 20 years that I worked at Weight Watchers, that worked for a lot of people. But I also saw people that it didn't work for them. And, it's really hard when you have one way to teach people and that's not working for them. So I knew if I was going to start my own company and I was going to have to have a basis. I was going to have general guidelines for how to get healthy. So one day I sat down at my dining room table with a yellow legal pad and I just started writing. I didn't have any intention with any numbers. Let's write down 12 things or 10 things that I think you have to do. I just started writing and I wrote down everything that I felt like you needed to do to live a healthy lifestyle, to lose weight if that's what you wanted to do, or just to live healthy and just to be living your very best life. So I created the Power of 13. In that, today, I just want to introduce what all 13 are. And then next week, we will start a deep dive into each one individually. So first of all, let's start with the food, right? So the first one, and number 1 in the Power of 13, is cut your portions in half on everything except vegetables. So what I find is that most people they overeat. We don't necessarily eat that bad. And some of us eat really poorly, don't get me wrong, but some of us don't eat that poorly. We just overeat everything. So what I want to teach you is how to weigh and measure, how to know if you're already doing a 3-ounce chicken breast or a 4-ounce chicken breast. I'm not going to tell you to cut that in half, but if you don't know that you're doing a 4-ounce chicken breast, I need you to weigh it and measure it, because they're usually 8 to 10 ounces is what most of us eating. So that's just a small example. The other thing I always want you to weigh and measure and to make sure that you're cutting those portions in half is whites. And we'll get to that in just a second, because that's another really important part of the book. Number 5, based in food, but number 5 on the Power of 13 is double your veggie intake. Most of us, some of us are really good. I'm not criticizing, I'm not calling anybody out, but most of us aren't great at vegetables. So if you're a person who says, Paris, I don't eat any vegetables, then I want you to eat 1 serving. Right? But if you're a person who eats your 9 vegetable servings every day, I'm not going to tell you to double those. So we'll talk about different ways to get them in. We'll talk about different vegetables, different ways to really learn. I have a lot of clients who come to me saying, I hate vegetables. You don't hate every vegetable. You just don't. Number 8. And this one's interesting, but number 8 on the Power of 13, also again based in food, is eat fruit, but it needs to be portioned. This all came from a client years ago who told me, she came into a group one day and she said, Paris, I ate a watermelon. And I went, she goes, in one day. I go, a little one? She said, no, it was a big one. And she thought that was okay because the program we were working, watermelon didn't really work against you. But when you find out that watermelon's only sugar and water, or you find out that I'm eating 3 bananas a day and bananas are, 71 calories for a little tiny one, they add up at the end of the day. So we really need to eat fruit, at least 1 or 2 servings, which is a half a cup, just so you know, and more to come. We'll get a lot deeper into all of these. But you do need to you do need to watch your portions, and you do need to weigh and measure. Right now is cherry season, and cherry season is 2 to 3 weeks long. Um, I'm also married to a produce guy, so I have a lot of great information about produce, but it's only 2 to 3 weeks long. Well, if we're cherry people, we're eating a lot of those during that time. And believe it or not, you can't eat too many cherries. So, number 8 is incorporate and learn about healthy fats. We need to have healthy fats each day in our diet, and I will take a very big deep dive into that with you. I have some very strong beliefs in what healthy fats are. I am a coach who's going to teach you that all saturated fat is bad. And so you're going to learn a lot about that. And in addition to learning about those things, you're also going to learn that getting those healthy fats, even though they're typically very high in calories, that they're going to be something that saves you calories throughout the day because of what they do for you. And number 12, possibly the hardest one for most of us, is limit white foods. White foods include white flour, pasta, rice, sugar, and salt. So that will be a video that we'll go deep into, and we will make sure when I say limit, I'm not telling you you're going to have to quit anything, but we really have to keep a really good eye on how many whites we're eating in a day, because you get no benefit from them. There are no health benefits in white foods. And I will also explain to you that there are some white foods that are really good for you. So we'll be sure that you understand that as well. And number 4 is probably the one that people battle with the most, and that's track your food and your feelings. When you are trying to figure out what your habits are, the best thing in the world that you can do for yourself is track your food and your feelings. So we'll dive into those. The next one is movement. And number 2 on the Power of 13 is move your body 30 minutes per day intentionally. And that can be a walk. That can be a 5-minute walk 6 times a day. That can be stretching, which is going to come up in just a second as well. All I'm talking about is being active for 30 minutes a day. That is what we're looking for. Will some of you not be able to start at 30 minutes a day? That's okay. We're going to meet you where you are, and we're going to give you lots of great ways to get those steps in. Okay? Number 6, stretch on purpose 10 to 15 minutes per day. Stretching is mobility. I don't know how else to say that. Stretching is mobility. I personally I love yoga. I go as often as I can, but I also try to stretch at home. The more you stretch, the less you hurt. Will you hurt when you first start stretching? 100%. You will. You will absolutely hurt when you first start stretching, but the more you do it, the better you feel. It is the best way to age backwards, is to stretch your body. People are like, but my back hurts. It's because you're not stretching. It's because we're sitting all the time. We need to stretch. And if we can create a habit where we stretch in the morning and we stretch at night, it will be a game changer in how you feel on a daily basis. Last but not least is weight-bearing activity, 15 to 30 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week. Do you know that weight-bearing activity is going for a walk? Did you know weight-bearing activity is yoga? You don't have to go buy a bunch of weights or join a gym or do any of that. I'm going to teach you all the ways that you can get weight-bearing activity in. And a lot of times, just using your body weight, it's all you need. It's all you need. I was in a group the other day, and one of the people in the group said, I remember when Richard Simmons says, you don't need anything, you just need a body. I was like, okay, that's true. That's very true. All right, so mental health. This is the last 4 in the Power of 13. If any of these are resonating with you, I hope you will follow along. Make sure that you're following my page. Make sure you're getting notifications. Let's get healthy with Coach Paris. And is that what it is? Yeah, let's get healthy with Coach Paris. I'm sorry, I just messed that up. Yeah, let's get healthy with Coach Paris on YouTube. Make sure that you are signed up to receive notifications so that when these videos do drop, you're able to get them. Up next, number 3. Number 3 is sleep at least 8 hours a night, non-negotiable. I'm going to explain to you the importance of sleep and how it makes you make better decisions. Also, how important it is. And if you've always been a person who gets 6 or 7, I bet you'd even feel better if you'd get 8. I'm talking about good sleep, and I'm really saying it's non-negotiable. It's a constant work in progress. Number 10, create boundaries and enforce them. Whether that's with your family, with your work, with your spouse, with your children, whoever that is. Creating boundaries will change your life. Learning to say no with no explanation. There's many ways you can do this. You don't owe anybody an explanation every time. If you don't want to do something, you don't have to do it. Number 7 is read something positive for 15 minutes a day, every day, every day. Did you know that that's not Facebook or Instagram? We need to find something that uplifts us. I have a lot of people that do devotionals. I have a lot of people who read mantras every day. We're going to find a way for you to read something positive every 15 days or 15 minutes for every day. And I will explain to you why that is so important. Number 13 is pause and be mindful. Coach Paris is a big believer that we should all pause before we let anything come out of our mouth or we put anything in our mouth. Pausing is the key to success. It truly is. And we will walk through steps to be able to learn how to do that and to understand why it's so important in all areas. Before you say something, before you eat something, either way. So that is kind of what I wanted you to all understand today, and kind of get a general thing. Do any of those speak to you? Do you go, oh yeah? So again, as I told you, it's common sense. It's not rocket science. There is no rocket science here. I am going to teach you how to do all of these things. The best thing about the Power of 13, and I will end right after this, the very best thing about the Power of 13 is that you don't have to do all 13 to be perfect. You do not have to do all 13 every day, but you will understand and you will notice that the more of them that you do in a consistent way, the more successful you are. So I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to you following my page, learning each and every one of these things, and just making it easier. I will also put in the comments where you can get my book if you're interested. There's a book and a workbook. The workbook is so helpful. And I will put that in the comments as well. But be sure you're subscribed. Be sure that you're following the page. And I look forward to meeting with you each week.